Hey guys, welcome back. We're going to continue our castle tour, and this one is from The Untold Past, and it is England's greatest castle, Warwick Castle history. I did see when I was looking this one up that it is one of the backdrops, the backgrounds, or they filmed there. Anyway, they filmed there for Harry Potter. I'm not sure where I've seen all the Harry Potter movies, but I couldn't tell you at what point in it that they use this one, but I think it is super cool. I know they also filmed in Scotland, and I think another castle as well. But either way, this also has a lot to do with English history. So hopefully we learn a little bit more about it, maybe get a little bit of a look inside. And I will link this video in the description along with links over to Patreon and how you can support the channel right here on YouTube. So let's do it. All right, here we go.
Warwick Castle sits on the River Avon as a bastion of power, wealth and grandness. Its history is one which is closely linked to royalty, richness and also darkness. Featuring some incredible rooms fit for a monarch to visit, and also dungeons which even the most defiant soldier would submit within the dark and dreary walls, it really is one of England's greatest castles. Join us today as we visit the history behind and show you around the fantastic Warwick Castle. Remember, if you do enjoy our videos, please make sure to subscribe. Warwick Castle's history begins with the reign of William the Conqueror, with the first castle appearing on the site. After his victory at the Battle of Hastings in 1066, William needed to consolidate his power in England. He did this by building wooden Motte and Bailey castles, and one of these was built at Warwick. William then appointed the powerful Henry de Beaumont as the constable of the castle.
Look at that, the cross is the top.
He was then made the first Earl of Warwick. During the next few centuries, the ownership of the castle changed hands a number of times. In 1264, the castle was taken in a surprise attack by Simon de Montfort, the 6th Earl of Leicester. One of the most historic names associated with the castle is the surname Beauchamp, and the Beauchamp family had possession of the castle for over 180 years. Within this time, they added to the castle, expanding to create an imposing and impregnable fortress. In 1312, Piers Gaveston, the favourite and rumoured possible lover of Edward II, was captured by Guy Beauchamp, the 10th Earl of Warwick, and imprisoned in the castle before his execution. Later, under Thomas Beauchamp, the castle grew even more to incorporate a gatehouse, a barbican, and the Caesar and Guy's towers. Stay tuned for a tour around these specific parts of the castle.
Wait a minute, we need to watch a video on that. That's interesting. Piers Galveston and Edward. Huh.
Including the infamous dungeons. In 1449, the line of the Beauchamp Earls ended, and Richard Neville, also known as the Kingmaker, became the next Earl of Warwick. Neville's name would become infamous throughout the War of the Roses, even imprisoning King Edward IV at Warwick at one point, attempting to rule in the king's name. Following the Kingmaker's death at the Battle of Barnet, the castle passed to the Plantagenets, and these two met a rather grisly end. Held by Henry VII, Edward Plantagenet would be held at the Tower of London for 14 years before being executed for conspiring with the Great Pretender, Perkin Warbeck. In the Tudor era, the castle had fallen into a state of decay.
Wait. When I was young, there was that Leonardo DiCaprio movie where like they replaced the mean king with like a nice guy. Was that based off of this, or was it about this? Like that they had like an imposter in his place? Was he a bad dude to start with? Was that why they... I don't know. I don't know. Like, I love history stuff, and I learn about a ton of stuff, but, like, my memory is also awful. Like, legitimately a problem. You guys... Is that what this was about or based off of? That movie?
Twice by Queen Elizabeth I. During the English Civil War, it was refortified and it saw action under the Greville family. The Greville family began to restore and return Warwick to its former glory.
That's cool.
During the Gunpowder Plot, the conspirators had even stole horses from the stables to help their escape. The Greville family would become synonymous with Warwick Castle. For centuries, their ownership would transform Warwick into an opulent fortification within the countryside. Under their tenure, the castle would also become a palace fit for royalty, with ornate decor of which you will see later. During the Victorian times, it became a massive tourist attraction, even visited by Queen Victoria herself. Today, it is definitely one of England's best castles and most visited. This is where we begin our tour. We've previously mentioned the Motte and Bailey Castle that once stood at Warwick. The motte was the mound of earth in which the keep, or the castle structure, stood on top of.
That's
From
so
the top
pretty.
Of the motte, you can really see why William ordered the castle to be built there.
Beautiful
The
time of
views
year
offer a
too. It's
complete
like fall.
360-degree view for miles around, and would give one enough time to prepare should an invading force be approaching. The curtain walls at Warwick are extremely thick and huge. These intimidating walls would act as a first means of defence following the moat. They were built to allow archers and crossbowmen to swiftly move around the castle to defend different parts from above, and they do feature many arrow loops and crenellations. Built in the 14th century,
I just thought of the name of the movie. I think it was The Man in the Iron Mask.
the Guy's Tower is a huge and intimidating structure that offers incredible views of Warwick.
It was a good movie. I haven't
This
seen that
tower
forever.
would have originally been
Years
used
and years
to
and years and
accommodate
years.
important guests. However, the rooms were sometimes used to house prisoners. In fact, within these walls is some prisoner graffiti. It has 5 stories within this tower, with the 5th being a guard room. During the English Civil War, the windows were modified to allow people to fire handheld cannons. One of the first defences that possible attackers would be greeted by at Warwick would be the Barbican. The exterior walled passage had a drawbridge and extended out into the ditch. Soldiers would then be faced with the inner portcullis. From above, an invader would be peppered with crossbow bolts and arrows, and it would be possible to create a trap, creating a killing zone. From above, terror would rain down from the murder holes, with waste, boiling water and sand being thrown which would get into a soldier's armour. This was a brutal method of defence. Leaving the Barbican along the wall walk, you head towards Caesar's Tower. This was built in the 14th century and is the tallest tower within the castle. This is a 4-storey tower and houses the infamous jail. The jail at Warwick Castle is extremely infamous. It is incredibly dark and cold within the confines of the jail. It has a single open drain running across the floor, providing the only sanitation. The only light that comes through is from a tiny shaft high on the wall, from which the guards would then watch prisoners. Inside the prison is a number of carvings on the walls of those unfortunate enough to be housed here. Within the dungeon, prisoners would be shackled to the walls and would probably face torture. The most brutal method of them all is the oubliette that's found here. This hole in the ground was simply where a soldier would be left and forgotten, being eaten by rats, or possibly even drowning in water or dying of starvation. If you haven't already, please check out our video on the oubliette. The Kingmaker exhibition at Warwick Castle charters the life of Richard Neville, the Kingmaker, and specifically goes into detail about how he would have prepared for a battle. You can see within this a number of different rooms, including a blacksmith's quarters, a wardrobe, and even a garderobe or toilet. Richard Neville's connections with the castle and role as a great manipulator of the monarchy has certainly preceded him. The Great Hall inside the main part of the castle is an unbelievably ornate room. It is the largest room in the castle. This room would have acted as a grand reception room for guests and to house entertainment. Grand dances and frivolity would occur within this space. The Red Drawing Room is a grand chamber and was used as an anteroom, a room in which guests would be received in a grand and opulent manner. Adorning the walls are a number of rich and incredible paintings. Within this room you can certainly get a feel for the opulence and the wealth of the castle's custodian. The next few rooms only have one purpose, purely to entertain and impress guests. The Green Drawing Room functioned as a private gentleman's room for travelling aristocrats to rest and play in. This beautiful room features an incredible ceiling that is inspired by the temple bell in Palmyra. Sadly, this temple was destroyed in 2015 by ISIS. The Queen Anne bedroom was given its name following the fact that Queen Anne gifted her bed to the suite in 1773. Queen Anne was the last Stuart monarch, and the bed was probably her deathbed. Adorning the walls are incredible tapestries, which show gardens and a medieval palace in extraordinary detail. The small yet
Wow.
intimate blue boudoir was redecorated by Daisy Greville. She wanted
It's amazing. Like you could tell, even obviously with like where they had the dungeon and the places around that, and here how they've tried to keep it like true to the time. I mean, I think that's pretty darn cool. Um, 'Cause you can look at all this and just imagine them, during their heyday, just laying in their bed or sitting in a chair and looking at all these paintings. It's just you can sit there and think about it all day long.
to the room to entertain the ladies,
Look at that
whilst the men would be
ceiling.
in the green drawing room enjoying themselves. Inside this room are a number of very famous paintings. The Armoury passageway contains a rich number of weapons and pieces of armour,
It's like Tudor
including the
style.
sword of Guy Warwick. Allegedly,
Look at
this
that
armoury is only
hallway.
second to the Tower of London. The chapel in Warwick Castle is small yet hugely impressive. It was the meeting place of the Earls of Warwick and their families every Sunday. The stone screen would divide the family from the household staff. In 1995, the ceiling was discovered to have a number of heraldic shields on.
It's wild that each of these castles has like their own like church or chapel in it, and then my idea that is obviously more current, and then I started to think about some of like the history movies that I've seen that are in that time period, and you're like, the I don't know what religions they were because I think it changed a good bit. Protestant, Catholic, just Church of England. I don't know what that was, but like they were ruthless. The clergy members were ruthless.
On it. A chapel has been located on this site since the year 1119. Arguably, the most ornate and impressive room in the whole
Yeah, that
castle
gold.
is the state dining room. With
That
paintings
floor.
of monarchs, including Charles I, adorning the walls, this room has hosted some incredible dinner parties and esteemed guests, including Queen Victoria and Prince Albert. In 1996, even Queen Elizabeth II had lunch in this room. The huge chandelier, marble fireplace, and vast amounts of artwork show off the incredible wealth of the castle's owner. There is even more to the castle. However, at a later date, we will show you the remaining part of the castle, including the Royal Victorian Weekend exhibition, the ornate bedrooms upstairs, and the incredible mill and conservatory, complete with the fantastic gardens. We really hope you enjoyed this video.
That was awesome. I would love to see more. I didn't realize it was like two parts. Let me know if you guys want to see the next part of that, and like and subscribe if you're enjoying this as much as I am. I'm loving this castle tour so far. I'm having a lot of fun with it. I just think it's the coolest thing ever. I didn't realize, like, I knew you guys had a lot of castles and incredible palaces and stuff like that, but like, I didn't, I didn't know the half of it. I'll put it that way. I didn't know the half of it, but I'm loving it, and I'm so glad you guys are watching with me.